Hello and welcome to another video by myself, Chris from Sorare on a Budget. Today's video, I'm going to be taking a little look at SorareData. It's a resource that everybody who's associated with Sorare probably knows about, but I'm going to go into a little bit of depth, a little bit of things that I look at on a daily basis, really. How I find players, how I review my own gallery, how I track the weekly performance, not only of myself, but I also do for a couple of friends, just so I can be nosy, really. So having a look, first and foremost, like I say, what is SorareData? I'm going to then look at the gallery reviews, player searches, tracking yours and your other game weeks, as I mentioned. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It'll help the channel grow. It'll help me keep making these videos. Obviously, I've had a little bit of a delay since the last video. I'm fully recovered health-wise, which is great. And that's basically what I've been waiting on. I didn't want to do another video where I was just unwell whilst doing it. If you haven't joined Sorare as of yet, you can do so on my link on the screen, SorareOnABudget.com. That'll take you to the Sorare website where you can sign up. And when you sign up there, you'll get 10 free cards to get started with, and you can use those in the casual league. And then once you've bought 5 cards from the new card auctions, you'll receive a free card, which you can then use in your game weeks, or you can sell it and enhance your existing game week team. Looking on the screen, I've got Branderhorst, my new goalkeeper for the European leagues. I picked him up at the beginning of last week, and the lad kept a clean sheet, and it was enough to get me into the higher threshold, which was great over the last few weeks, which I'll show you in a wee minute. The last few game weeks have been pretty decent to me, to be fair. I think in total it's 0.12's worth of rewards between ETH and a card, or 2 cards, sorry. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with how things have been going. But how my whole journey has been based around is SorareData. What is SorareData? Is basically it pulls all the data from the Ethereum blockchain with regards to Sorare, which will show you everything you could possibly need to know, from player scores, player prices, your performance, everyone's performance, from the whales right on down to the newbies. You can search everybody, you can look at their galleries, you can look at everything. So everything is open source, and it's all available for you to view. Now I'm going to bring up this. Oh, I've got my Sorare site here. I'm in the middle of trying to sort out a deal for a player here. I don't think I'm going to get for that price. I'm probably going to end up just paying what the guy's asking for, to be perfectly honest, because I need another European striker, which I'll come to and I'll show you in a little bit. So this is SorareData, SorareData.com. When you sign in, I'll ask you to authorize it with your Sorare account. You can do so, it's perfectly safe to do so. And then you'll be presented with this screen. Now on here, you can see such things as you can have a look at play, SO5, your market, scout, and it'll give you your name here. First thing I'm going to take a look at is my gallery. This is where you can actually see how your gallery looks, how you're performing, the breakdown of where your players are based, position-wise, league-wise, everything like that. Who's available for the next game week, everything like this. So at the moment, on the screen here, you can see I'm sure it's having 9 limited cards and 19 rares. I have had a few sales in the last day or so, and that's reflected in the latest roster price. I've got a gallery shown as 1.24 Ethereum, which at the exact moment is just over $5,000. I always forget to change mine back to pounds when I sign in. For some reason, it doesn't seem to stick for me. I think that's a me thing, though. I think that's to do with the browsers and cookies and such like. I also have, this doesn't include any Ethereum that you're sitting on at that given moment. I'm sitting at 0.14 thanks to a few halfway decent sales. So overall, just under 1.4. Which I think at the moment, I mean, it's exploded again today, but roughly it's about £4.5 grand, which when I've taken out £525, playing stake free, So I'm very pleased with where that's at. It'll also show you some of your SO5 cards that have earned you rewards. Anton Walk's being the one that comes up here. It varies between the different ones that I've got your highest. So mine's it varies between him and Brad Guzan and a couple of others. It'll show you your reward lineups. Now that's only where you've won a card. It doesn't include the any of your threshold wins, which I class as a win. You know, it's not a card, but you know, as you'll see on another screen, it all adds up, and to me that's prize money. You'll see here, it tells you the total number of rewards won, and that's 4, and how many podium places or how many victories, and I've got a big fat donut, but I'm not too worried about that. You know, if the stars align one day and I get a podium or get a victory, then happy days. If I don't, I'm happy trading, and I'm happy getting my weekly or my twice weekly Ethereum wins. As I say, it'll break down your players. You can click through, you can see your defenders, your midfielders, and your forwards. And you've got anything you've got for sale, your roster prices, your latest signings. First one I'm really going to look at, though, is your SO5 stats. Now, this is important to keep an eye on because this really shows you your journey and what you've actually gained from it. So as you can see here, my total Ethereum rate earnings is 0.37. It's actually, including this week's, which have been delayed, is 0.39, which, you know, it's over £3,000 for one at the moment. Let me actually just bring that up on a separate screen. We will just do a quick, let's bring up Google. I'll bring up ETH to GBP because that's my currency, got all-time high again. 0.39. That's how much the prize money based on what the Ethereum rate is at the moment. Mine's is all, other than 500 quid, I've reinvested everything into it. So in essence, that's the price that it's actually worth from my prize money. So you're talking almost £1,300 in prize money from the thresholds. That surprised me. I started with 300 quid. That's 4 times what I started with in prize money. So I'll never overlook that. Sometimes you get a bit down and you feel like, oh man, I've only hit 205. I'm only getting the lower one. On the current rates, it's 33 quid. You know, you're getting that back. So, and if you do miss it, you just have to regroup and refocus on what you're looking at. But the great thing about the SorareData screen there is that it does show you exactly in total. It shows you how many rewards, as I say, how many cards you've had, and that's the value of the cards that I've had. I've not had great luck with them. One was a tier 2. I've had 2 tier 3 rares, which have been, one was worth a tenner and one was worth 30 quid. So it's not been great to me. My tier 2 ended up being a duplicate Anton Volks as well, as you've seen on a video a couple of weeks ago. But it's all free money. It's all prizes. It's all things coming back. So you can factor that in as well. You could probably add on another 200 quid onto that figure before. So you're looking at 1,500 quid in prize money. That's enormous. That's you know, that's a holiday. You know, that's if you're buying, you know, if you could buy a car for that, you could, you know, it's a lot of money. And like I say, to me, I'm a bus driver. I've actually still got my work t-shirt on. You know, that's the better part of 4.5, or just about 4 weeks' wages. You know, like to be able to pull in a month's worth of earnings over the course of a 7-month period now. Yeah, you know, I'll never overlook the thresholds. And everybody talks about, oh yeah, but they might go away, you know, or when the progression bar is. That's all ifs, buts, and maybes. As I've said in other videos, you know, even 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks is a long time in my Sorare journey. I change players all the time. I'm never focused on the one area. So if your argument to me is going to be, oh, but the thresholds might go away, they might, but they're here now. So why would you want to miss out on what's here now in case something changes in a few weeks' time? Your players aren't suddenly going to drop off a cliff. There's more and more players joining Sorare all the time. And the scarcity of the rare cards is becoming increasingly important. And that's why you're seeing prices start to go up on the rare cards, because there are so many people now vying for only, you know, 100 cards of a certain player. So Yeah, that's, to me, I'm not going to overlook the thresholds whilst they're here. If it changes in the future, I'll adapt to it the same way everybody will. But the parameters are here now. Play at the parameters. Manager stats. This will give you a breakdown of what you've spent on the auctions, what you've spent on offers, and how much you've earned on the market. So it breaks it down into percentages. You can see here total bids 291, and I've won 43 of those. Okay, I mean, it's a percentage. That's not something I'm going to, I don't think anybody's bragging about winning auction percentages. And if you are, I'm not going to judge you. But here you can see this is what I've spent on auctions. I spent 0.65 on auctions so far in total. And scary figures when you start looking at this. Spent on manager offers 5.02 ETH. So if you add those two figures together, I've spent 5.67 Ethereum on players. Now, the good news is I've recouped 5.78 back. So was that 0.11? I'm in a positive there. But I've also got a gallery, as you can see, and the cards, so I'm in a very good position. If you're finding that you're spent on auctions and spent on manager offers are less than your earned and what your gallery is worth, you're probably in a bit of a negative position. And you may have to have a look at, right, okay, how do I regroup and how do I refocus my gallery so that I can start either winning prizes or if I can start pulling that there. You'll also have to factor into that, of course, any money you've taken out, because that's not really going to be shown. Because if you've taken money out, your gallery value is going to be less. So obviously it's going to be there. So you have to factor in what you've taken out as well. There's a lot of things to pull together. This is just going to be a bit of an overview. You could probably spend hours upon hours, I do, trawling through SorareData, looking at different things and different, ways to look at your galleries. Further down, there are some graphs. It shows you how many players you've owned at different times. This is all the way back to the 31st of March when I first bought players. I had 6 cards. Up to 20 odds, and then I went up to about 40 odds when I bought quite a couple of limited teams on my birthday, actually, give or take. And then I came back down, I sold out the limiteds, and then I bought some more, and I bought a couple back, and then what have you. So I'm sitting, as I say, at the moment, what was that, 29, 30 cards, give or take. But by the end of the night, there'll be a few more on top of that. Here, this gives you a 1 month average. I don't know what stock you can really put in a 1 month average price. Because players fluctuate on a daily, or even over a few days. So I think, these two graphs, yeah, they're pretty to look at. And some, initially I did use it as like, oh great, look at this. It's quite misguiding, I don't think it's something that's worth really putting a huge amount of stock into. Looking at the 1 month, it's pretty, if it's going up the way. But it's, yeah, you can look at your cards one. These are the figures, this is the things to look at, and they're probably more accurate. Next thing we're going to look at, and when you're reviewing your gallery, and this is the SO5 results. This just gives you a quick overview of where your team's at the moment. So there's no games being played in Asia as of yet. So everybody will show us first. Yay, we've all got to win, stop the count, all that jazz. Yeah, I've posted it a few times as well. Like a pointless post, to be honest. Here, it will show you how many cards you've got left to play. So I'm currently in All-Star Division 4, which it still shows us in here. It's All-Star Rare now. 9,450th at the moment. I've got 0 points. All my cards are America-based. They're playing overnight. No, that's tomorrow night. And Thursday morning, so that's fine. So they're playing over the next couple of days. So that's quite handy. You can go in and look and be like, okay, 3rd of November, 11:30 at night. That's when my Atlanta lads are playing. I'm hoping they're all going to be playing because they're really pushing, so they don't really want to weaken their team. And then I've got Real Salt Lake. They're in a similar position. They just fell out of the playoff positions, but they're only out by a point or two. This game in hand will put them into the contention with the last game to play at the weekend. And then I've got Portland's backup striker. He's just come back from long-term injury. I'm fingers crossed that, you know, because they've already secured their places, they might start to give some game time to some of the backups, and hopefully he gets game. My other striker was from San Jose and they're not playing, so this was my only choice. It was either that or buy another player. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't see the point of buying another player to try and earn 20 to then 0.02 to then be stuck with a player that's a way to finish their season or overpay for a player. I just didn't see the point. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you know, so be it. But what you can see under here as well, this is the little bit that I look at quite often. It tells you here, because this is the, you know, for your thresholds, that's how far away you are. Points to earn the lower threshold, points to earn the higher one. So you can keep track how close you are in points. I can finish first. I can finish 10,916th if I scored 0. Hope to goodness I don't score 0. That would be quite disastrous. But if you click on here, you can actually see. So at the moment, there's 15% of the games have been played or are in progress. So at the moment, I'm 0 points from getting no reward. Yippee! That's exactly where, you know, that's where we all start. But it tells you here. So to get to a tier 2 at the moment, I need to get 44 points. Now, that's only because there's only a handful of players played, but you can keep track of that. So you can see, right, okay, well, if you get to, you know, the last day or so of the game week and you've got 2 players to play, and it tells you here you're only needing 60 points to get towards a tier 1 or a tier 0. That's when you're probably going to get a wee bit more excited and you're going to really focus on those games and probably, you know, I search them out if I can find them on, you know, on Sky or on BT. Or by other means, there's ways you can find games. I'm not going to obviously tell you how to do that. You can probably find how to do that. Usually you'll find some adverts for Russian girls or Ukrainian girls or people that are looking for men in your area. That's what I find on these sites. I've never clicked on them, promise. As I say, you can go down, you can see all your different squads there. I've got my Constable lads that are all playing tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. So I'll be doing my school run and these guys will be out, hopefully finding some results, because I would really appreciate that. But that's where you can look at your gallery and look at you know, your game week and things like that. Just whilst I'm on the game week point of view, I'll just show you another thing. In the SO5 section, you can go to Game Week Center. On here, it will show you the games that are being played. So as you can see, I mean, Chelsea are 1-0 up, but they were drawn at half time when I just checked before I did the video. Wolfsburg now beating Salzburg. That was 1-1 at half time. And this one I couldn't tell you anything about. It's kicked off 15 minutes ago. So it's quite handy because it does show you, you know, the games that are being played. If you've got players involved in it, it tells you how many cards are, you know, none of my cards are playing in this one, but there's 27 available cards in this matchup. There's 8 in this one. There's 2 in this one, there's 3 in this one, there's 1 in this one. So it's handy. You can actually see how many players are actually going to be active in those games. So if you're trying to judge where you could finish, this will show you. If you want to just see your own games, click on the show with lined up players. So I've only got 3 games. So I've got 3 players for Atlanta. I've got a Salt Lake player and I've got a Portland player. They're playing against each other. So, and then Consadole are at home to 5th bottom. Sean and Belmere. So you can see these things at a glance. It's quite handy. The one thing you can look at as well is you can look at the rankings. So here, it will show you for each of the divisions. It will show you who's, you know, so Division 1, this is going to show you who's top at the moment. You can click through all those. But what you can also do is in here, you can actually search for other managers. You can look and see how their lineups are looking. So I'm going to bring up Scotland Sorare. Sorry, Russell. I hope you. I mean, it's early in the game week. You can't be doing badly at the moment. Once you press on the, finding something wrong here. Scotland Sorare. It is. Oh. Maybe Russ hasn't put a team in. Let's try again. It's not coming up, so let's go with Hybe. My browser. Well, there you go, folks. I'm trying to show you something and it's not working. I've refreshed it there and it's not coming up. I wonder if that's something to do with my browser. But that's how you can do it. You can type in there what manager you want to look up, press search, and it'll bring up, how they're doing, the same way that it shows you with your results. It will show you exactly like this, but it'll show you for those people. So if you want to keep an eye on some of the whales or your friends or whoever, you can type it in there and it'll bring them up and you can actually have a look. There is another way you can actually have a look at some of the other managers as well, and that's if you go to Scout and you go to Manager. Here you could type in any manager. So let's have a little look at our old friend Pavel. There we go, Pavel J. So it brings up, shows you, good God Almighty. It'll bring up the roster value, how many players of the different varieties, the same way it does for your own one. And you can then see, you can actually click straight into the results there. So there's how big Pavel's doing at the moment. That is a hell of a lot of teams to track. But that's how you can go and look at other people's accounts. You can then click on the players. It'll take a bit of time to come up because he has so many players. As you can see here, all added together, that's an enormous amount of players. So that's, you can click in, you can look at the different teams and different lineups and things like that in there. The final part I'm really going to look at is what I've looked at before on all the videos. Well, not all the videos, and some of the videos, but this, sorry, my feet are getting pretty numb from sitting on them. This is how you search for your players. This is how I search for the players anyway. You can search for, by this at the top of the screen here, you can pick whether it's a goalkeeper, defender, what have you. Let's have a look. I do need to pick up another defender, so I'm going to look at defenders. Leagues, you can pick if you want to do it as an actual league, whether it be, if you want to look at Austria, Germany, wherever you want to look at. Because we're coming towards the end of those seasons in America and in Asia, I'm just going to bring up the European leagues. I want a starter, so let's leave that clicked as a starter. I'm not fussed about the age. What you can then do is, as you scroll down, you can see you can search for the performance over the last 5 games, performance over the last 15, and over the last 40. Because I'm looking for somebody that can make an impact to my team just now, I'm going to basically just change these up as high as they go and as low as they go. I usually do that anyway. So we're going to set that as a maximum of 100. Not that I can afford anybody that's averaging 100. I don't even think there is anybody, but let's go for 50. Then you can sort by the percentage of games you've played. I'm going to look for somebody who's played 100% of the last 5, so all 5 games, and has started all 5 games. Then, you can pick which type of card you're looking for. So this, as I've said in some of the other videos, this can be scaled to whichever way you want to do it. But I'm just going to look at rares because that's what I'm mainly focused on. Now, you can then look at the average price, or you can look at the market price, or you can search for both. Market price being what the managers are selling them for, what the lowest price is. And then average price is actually what they've been selling for. So you can look either way. I'm going to look at, let's say 0.06. Search. Bring up all your different players. Lad actually sold last week. I'm quite keen on maybe picking him back up again. But the only problem is with the Russian season coming to an end in mid-December for 2 months. I'm really looking for somebody I could use over the weekend. Well, not the weekend, over the winter is what I mean. Like Sheldon had a poor game at the weekend, so his average has come down, so we'll probably find him a little bit better. I was looking at Christian Burgess earlier, so I'm going to actually click in and look a little bit more detail because I was doing it on my phone. So when you click on the players, this is your players detail screen. You can just type in a player to search for, which I'll do in a moment. It'll bring up who they play for, which you can then click onto, and it'll actually open another tab with that squad. It tells you where they've been ranked for the last 15 games, but because his team has just been promoted, they've not played 15 games yet. So that's why we don't have a last 15 data. That's what it'll tell you when you hover over anything, it'll tell you them. So the average score of over the last 5 games is 52. He has played them all. here you can see the limited price for average for the last 5 days is 0.002. And the rares, which is what I'm focusing on, is 0.054. But you can see that's been increasing because it was 0.43 and the cheapest on the market is 5.5. So quite a decent price that somebody's got it up for compared to, you know, what he's actually been selling for. So I may well have a little look into him. But what you can do further down the screen, let's change this into pounds so we can see at the actual pound value. So you can see that his price has definitely increased substantially over the last few weeks. You know, mid-September, you're looking at about 50 quid for him. And now, because his average has gone up, we're sitting at 170 quid. So, and that's not just because his average has gone up, it's also because, you know, people, there are more, there's just more people playing. And one thing you can do here as well, just above, you can see that there's only 29 of his card. So if you're looking at 50,000 managers with players that own at least one card, or let's say even only, I mean, there's 10,000 entries into the All-Star Rare League this midweek. That's 10,000 managers that are looking for defenders, looking, you know, so if you know, there's only 29 cards available to those 10,000 managers. So there is competition for these cards now, which is why you're seeing the rare cards increase in price. And it's the same for the limiteds. Although the prices, there's been talk of, you know, prices coming down, as you can see, yeah, that's come down a little bit. But what you have to bear in mind with these so-called price crashes is a lot of people value their gallery in their own currency, in pounds. I use the Google Translate, you know, for the Ethereum price into pounds all the time. Just because that, you know, the Ethereum, that'll fluctuate all the time. But what I like to know is, okay, pounds wise, what is that? You know, when I'm buying and selling a player, I'll look at it in pounds. It also gives you a sense of, you know, it brings it into view what you're actually spending. You know, if I'm looking at, oh yeah, 0.05, that's great. You know, yeah, I'll offer that. When I sit back and look at it and go, that's about 170 quid, 180 quid. When was the last time I bought something for 170 or 180 quid, you know? And then, you know, as I say, that's more than half a week's wage that I'm away to spend on one player. Is that right? Is it wrong? You know, should I maybe look at something else? But if I'm looking to compete and try and make sure I'm hitting, you know, thresholds and things like that, okay, maybe I'll have to, you know, look at that sort of thing. So it is worth bearing that in mind when it comes to, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but it is worth bearing that in mind when people talk about price crashes and things like that, that sometimes it's just the market correcting itself in terms of the fiat value, whether it be the pound, dollar or euro. You'll probably find a lot of time that number itself is staying constant. Performance will drive, you know, the value of a card up and down. You know, conversely, if they're injured or they're playing poorly or whatever, prices will start to go back down. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind there as well. But just to get back to the point, you can see how many cards there are. As I say, that will reflect in the price. The other one I like to look at is their SO5 scores. And you can see this lad here. Yeah, he's had a couple of lower games. He didn't start the first 5 games. I only know that because I looked at a separate site. But when he came into the team, he's done pretty decent. Yeah, he's had 3 sub 50 scores, but he's also had, what's that, 5 scores over 50 and 1 over 60. So I'm okay with maybe looking at picking him up, and his team's performing quite well. So as I say, further down, get a bit more detail about, you know, how they've done. The one thing I will reiterate, as I've said in other videos as well, when you are searching for players, whilst SorareData will cover everything within Sorare, there are other sites to then go and research more thoroughly on the player. You can use Transfer Market, you can use SofaScore even. SofaScore is great. It breaks things down into minute detail. You know, things like, the average number of tackles in the game and the average number of times that, or the average number of duels won, which is obviously really important for a defender, scoring wise. So you can break all these details down in things like SofaScore. You can then do a little search. If you suddenly see a price looking awful cheap, you might want to then go and research and see, why is that guy suddenly so cheap? And it could be that suddenly, he's one of my Dundee players at the weekend, tore his Achilles. So if Dundee were in the game, his price has just hit the deck because he's out for the better part of a year. So there could be reasons as to why players have dropped off in value, and that way, you can try and eliminate, buying somebody that's out. I would always say, regardless of how well you know a card, go and do the last minute research before you place a bid, and that way you can keep track of it. So yeah, that's just a little bit of an overview. As I say, you could type in a player. Let's just go with Messi. Simple. Players with Sorare cards, you can click on them and have a look. Players without cards, you can have a look at those as well, and it also brings up teams. If you want to look at Messi, click on him, you can see there's only 20 of his rare cards in the game. They're sitting at 4 ETH as an average, which is enormous. There's only one unique card, 30. So it's different worlds in the one game, eh? But yeah, so that's just a little bit of an overview of SorareData. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you've got to this point in it, if you have any more questions about SorareData, obviously there's the different ways and means of having a look at that. There is the SorareData Twitter page. They've been doing a lot of videos recently covering off some new features that I haven't kind of gone into on the video, but you can search those out. There'll be another video this week before the game week for the weekend, and it is probably going to be another threshold video looking at a new batch of players that you can maybe, if you are looking to switch over to rares or you're just getting started on a journey, you can maybe have a look at those. But you can also find them, and I've just shown you how to look for them. So I will find some there, and I'll put them up in a video. Again, if you made it to the end of the video, you're new to Sorare and you want to get started, you can do so on the link. It'll be in the description below. And you can follow me on Twitter at Sorare on a Budget. There's also, I've got a written version of this video up for Draft Gym that I've been writing articles for, along with a couple of other members of the Sorare community. You can find them on Twitter at Draft Gym. And you'll find the articles there. I usually set, I'll share my own ones and some of the other guys' ones. There was recently just a South Korean or a K-League under 23s video article done. So yeah, you maybe want to have a look at those and see what you can find. But yeah, thank you very much for your time, guys. I'll be back later on this week, and I will speak to you all then. Take care.